Happy Thursday, friends. Welcome to the You Are Worthy Network. I'm so grateful to be here with you today. Hope you've had a great day so far. Can't believe we're towards the end of the week. It just goes faster and faster every week, it seems like. But I am super excited to be with you today and introduce our special guest to all of you. And I just want to tell you guys that I'm grateful for your engagement. I'm grateful for you guys telling your family and friends about the group. It's really growing tremendously. And I'm just grateful for each one of you. And just a reminder, and you know I'm going to say this, but I get to remind you because I know you haven't heard it today yet. You are worthy of love, of respect, and success. And your story is not over yet. If you're alive today, and you are if you're watching this, then there's a lot more for you. So be hopeful, be grateful, be encouraged by that. So I get the blessing of introducing you to our guest today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Holly through her bio that she sent me. Holly Hoffman was the last remaining member of the Espada, I think I said that right, tribe, and the last woman standing on season 21 of CBS's hit reality show Survivor Nicaragua. Through that experience and others throughout her life, Holly was inspired to share her message of survival. A professional motivational speaker and the author of Your Winner Within, Write Yourself a Note, in three-step stride, Holly acknowledges that life is made up of challenges and we are oftentimes faced with situations that seem insurmountable. But within each of us is the ability to focus our strengths, thoughts, emotions, and energy to succeed if only we have the knowledge, tools, and discipline to do so. A native of South Dakota, Holly's writing and speaking not only offer encouragement and optimism, but a roadmap for self discovery and spiritual enlightenment. Readers and audience members alike walk away inspired to light the fire of successful living within themselves. Today, Holly is a recipient of the Certified Speaking Professional designation and travels across the country and internationally, speaking to a wide variety of corporations, associations, universities, schools, and women's organizations. Holly inspires her audiences to take opportunities and focus on faith, attitude, determination, confidence, desire, and perseverance. Holly, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to have you. I'm reading your bio, and obviously, when you're hosting, you're going to read it ahead of time because when you read it in real time, it's like you're not comprehending all the many things. But you truly do have quite the resume. But before we jump into all that, let's let people know a little bit about Holly the person.
Holly,
Not Holly the professional. We'll talk about that, but Holly the person. So one of the blessings of this group is it started off small and it took a while to get to 500. Now it's getting closer to 2,700. But we've got people that will eventually watch this from all over the world. So I never assume people are from the States, even though I know you are. Tell people specifically where you're from in the world.
I am. I actually grew up in a very small town in north central South Dakota and a town of 850 people. Graduated with 19 in my class. Charlie and I
Wow.
raised our three children there. I went to the to Northern State University in Aberdeen, which was only about an hour away from my hometown. And we raised three of our children. Our oldest son, Austin, he is a lawyer and he has two boys. And then our middle daughter, she is a stay-at-home mom and her husband is a dentist and they have two children. And then our youngest daughter, she and her husband also live here in South Dakota. They're all in South Dakota. And
Nice.
they are both doctors and they have four children. So we've been blessed with eight amazing grandchildren, and they're all range from the age of 6 months to 11. So they keep us very, very busy.
Wow. So are they're all in the same state.
Yeah.
What are they all in close proximity to you?
Yes, and now I'm in Sioux Falls. So we're in Sioux Falls. So they're kind of One is an hour and a half, one is an hour, and one is about 4 hours. But to jump in the car and go and see their events and go visit them, it's really nice to have them close by. So we have been truly, truly blessed.
That is so incredible. And I'm sitting there thinking of this big family that you have, and the
Yes.
holidays are right around the corner. Is that all at your house?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let the baking commence
That's,
soon.
that's exact. I make sure that everybody brings something so I don't have to do it all.
That's very wise
Yes.
for sure. So what do you do for fun? And this is legit because I've never been to that part of the country. I've been to Michigan, I've lived in Illinois, I've been to Iowa, but I've never been to the Dakotas or Minnesota for that matter. What do you do for fun?
Golf. But of course, you can't golf year round. So in the summertime, we golf, and in the wintertime, we play pickleball. And
Hmm.
I also belong to the gym. I love to work out, get up in the morning and get on the treadmill, go for a swim. But actually, I love to ski, love to snow ski. Haven't done
Hmm.
that for a while. Just go and basically go to my grandkids' events. They all play basketball, so I'm kind of hopping around going to basketball games. But that's truly about it. Besides when I'm traveling and working, that's also fun, but then it's work, but I get to go to
Yeah.
these really great places. So that's what I would definitely have to say. But definitely in the summer, lots of golf.
Okay. So did your kids and grandkids get their athletic genes from you or both you and your husband?
I would probably have to say for me.
Okay.
Sorry, Charlie, but it's the truth. Yeah, we've been very blessed. They were all athletes, did very well in school. So yeah.
That's fabulous. So, I'm sure folks are going to be interested in how you even got involved with Survivor, which we'll get to in a second. But tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to 2010, far as professionally.
Well, when our kids were very small, we noticed that Austin, who is our oldest son, jumped in the pool and he just started swimming. And I remember saying to Charlie, we need to pursue this talent.
Hmm.
And as the kids got older, Alex just was able to jump into the pool and swim. So being in such a very small town, we um, we had a very private pool that was 20 by 40 feet, and I started a swim team. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I asked a lot of questions, watched a lot of videos, contacted a lot of coaches in the state and asked them questions. So I started a swim team. And so I did that for 17 years. And then I also officiated high school volleyball. I didn't do that very long. I just realized that that was not for me. That was a little bit harder than coaching swimming, but majority of my life, that's what I've done. 17 years I did that. And I loved every second of it. Swimming is an individual sport, as track and field as a team sport. And both of our daughters were able to go on and swim. They both got a full ride to college, one to the University of South Dakota and one to SDSU in Brookings, and both full scholarships to swim.
Wow, what a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Um, so yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so you're coaching or officiating volleyball, you're coaching swim team. What are you home one night and you're seeing Survivor? Are you a fan of the
Oh,
show? How does that even come about that you wanted to be on the show?
yeah. Well, I watched previous seasons of Survivor and I had never ever thought about applying. I just love to watch the show. I love to watch the challenges. I love to watch the interaction of the players. And I would just sit and enjoy the show. And our youngest, Elizabeth, was leaving for college. And I thought I was sitting at the kitchen counter and I was watching Survivor Samoa. And as I was watching Survivor Samoa, all of a sudden these thoughts started coming in my head. And I thought, I wonder if I should just try to apply to be on this show and see what happens. I had never thought about it before. So I went online and I researched, how do you apply for Survivor? What do you do? And so forth. And you had to send in a 3-minute video of yourself and fill out a 24-page application, which I did. And my video, I did it one time. I didn't have a script. It was 3 minutes. I just did it once. And then I didn't send it in right away because I thought, they're never going to pick me. Is this a waste of time? I just don't think I'm going to do this. And then I had mentioned to a couple people that I was thinking about applying to be on Survivor. And they actually were like, well, why don't you just send it in and see what happens? And I thought, you know what? They're right. So I sent it in, and 8 months later, I got a call, and I was shocked. I was totally, totally. And I actually, the first call that I got, a number came up on my cell phone, and I didn't answer it because I didn't recognize the number. And then a
Hmm.
couple days later, the same number came up, and I thought, wow. So just thinking about right there when you talk about worthy, I just didn't feel like I was worthy at that time because, oh my gosh, I'm from a small town. I live on a ranch, and I don't know why I started throwing those things in my head, but how many times do we do that? And I thought, I'm not going to be worthy to be on this show. And then I took the opportunity, and then look what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking when you were describing that, I'm sure all of the limited thinking, imposter syndrome, like you said, not worthy. I'm sure before you actually did it, all of that came rushing through, right?
Did. It really did. And also what came rushing through was, what if? What if I
Mm.
And so it was just kind of a last minute thing. Let's throw this video together. And then I got that first call and I didn't answer. And then 2 days later, the same number came up and I thought, I better take this answer. And sure enough, it was a casting director from CBS. And I still didn't believe he was calling. So I instead of he asking me questions, I started asking him questions.
Yeah, I would
What
have done
was
the
on
same
my
thing.
video? What was on in my application? And I'm like, you people are really calling me. And he's like, yes, we are. So I just, like I said, I just couldn't believe it. And they just kept calling and calling. And he did say that one of the hardest things about this show is actually getting on this show.
Hmm.
Because there were over 100,000 people that applied that season.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so you get the call, and by the way, thank goodness for their persistence and calling back the next day.
Exactly.
Um, so you finally get on the show. Was it all that you expected? Was it more than you expected? Did you meet new friends? Was it as tough as you thought it was? Just tell us about the experience.
Well, I could probably explain it in one word.
Hmm.
Horrible.
Oh my goodness.
But it
What's
was
bizarre about that, I was going to ask you to describe it when you were done in 3 words, but it was really that bad?
it was not what I expected.
Wow.
I'm going to just jump back after I made the finals. They flew me to LA for a casting call before I knew. And even that was hard. They asked tons of questions. You were confined to your room unless you had to come for an interview in another room. They made us do challenges. They made us work out. We had to do swimming challenges. So, kind of even there, I was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? And when I left my casting call, I still was like, there's no way I'm going to make this. And then when I went back home, um, I got the final call. And we were in Nicaragua, and you basically they drop you off. We had one set of clothes, a swimsuit, a water bottle, a bag, and a pair of shoes. And you have to try to survive for 39 days. And we were in the jungles of Nicaragua. And I got out there and I was like, what? There is nothing. I just had this vision that there would be tents and campers and porta potties, and there is absolutely nothing. They literally, it's the camera crew and you can't talk to the cameraman, you can't look at them. So I just couldn't believe it. I thought they really put people through this. And so it was very shocking when I started, for me, very shocking.
Wow. I mean, I guess my question is, I mean, you went through it. How much of it is legit and how much of it has a storyline? Are you even allowed to communicate that?
Oh no, I can tell you that. I have to honestly say, our season, everyone was right on. A lot of times people will say, "Oh my goodness, I that was totally edited." I
Mm,
cannot say anything that I did or said was edited.
mm,
I take full responsibility. I had a complete meltdown at the beginning of the game. I got out there. I didn't want to be there. The people got under my skin. It was raining every single night. We're sleeping on bamboo. Our hut is breaking down. We have no food.
mm.
Um, it was horrible. The bugs were terrible. I had bug bites all over. My legs were bleeding. I mean, it was just, and I did. I had a complete meltdown on national television. And even though I knew the cameras were there, it was like I couldn't control it. And going back home and watching that meltdown, people were with me that episode, my family and friends, and they were like, "Did they make you do that, or did they ask you to do that?" And I said, "No, I take full responsibility for it." And that was really hard for me to watch because I saw myself like almost turn into someone that I didn't expect. But
Mm.
it was just the elements, the people, the no food, something I didn't expect, and it really made me realize how when we get into those sticky situations, how our entire attitudes and the way we act can totally change.
Wow. So I want to encourage you with something and ask a question, but so like on the food issue, for real, if you don't catch it or hunt it, they they don't supplement it at all.
The only thing they gave us was they gave us a machete, two buckets, and a container of rice. So we basically lived on like a quarter cup of rice for a long time.
Mm,
Now they do
mm,
supply you with water. You have a they have a big barrel, and then they gave us a water bottle, and we'd go um to the big barrel, fill our water bottles, and so I just tried to drink as much water as I possibly could. And of
wow.
course, we were supposed to boil our water, and we didn't, and the majority of us got sick. But
Oh boy.
I know. So, so many people ask me this question, is it real? It is real. It's the real deal.
Wow. Okay. So, and I've not watched a lot of episodes of Survivor, so how many contestants average on a given season?
Now, let's see. This season there's 16, or no, there's 20. I guess there's our season was 20. There was
Okay.
a young tribe and an old tribe, 30 and younger and 40 and over. And there were 10 on each tribe. So there was a total of 20 people. Now I'm trying to think. This season, there's three tribes of six. So there's 18 this
Okay.
season. Now they've switched it to three tribes. So kind of every season's been different. Some seasons have had 20, some have had 18, but I would say the majority is like 20 people on the on the entire show. Yeah.
Okay. So you have this meltdown. What episode do you think that was?
It was episode 5.
Five. Okay. And there's how many episodes?
I take that back. It was day 5, episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a long season, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to go
Like,
39 days.
oh wow. So you went from a meltdown on day five to being the last woman standing, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that says a lot about your character and your resilience. How did you do it?
Well, on day 5, I approached someone that was on my tribe. It was Jimmy Johnson, the former NFL football coach. He
Mhm.
was on my tribe. And I just felt like I could trust him. I looked up to him as a leader. He told us on the very first day that we were out there, he said, "I'm not here to win the $1 million. I don't need it. I'm here to help you further yourselves in this game." And I remembered him saying that. So I walked up to him and I just said, "I really need someone to talk to." And he and I went over and we sat on this log, and they probably showed 2.5 minutes, but we sat there. I know it was at least 45 minutes.
Mm,
His words of encouragement, he made me feel like it's going to be okay. You need to continue. You can't walk off this show. And I have to be honest that my kids they popped in my mind thinking, if I walk off this show, I'm going to be doing this on national television and my kids are going to watch me quit.
Mm,
So, but his main words that he said when he looked at me and he said, "We need you. We really, really need you." That really hit me. And I
wow.
thought, okay, so I got up from that log and I'm like, he's right. I need to stay in this game. I need to keep furthering myself. And it wasn't about one day at a time, it was about 1 second at a time. And I truly believe when you think about being resilient or bouncing back from a challenge, it's 1 second at a time. Too many times we want to look at the big picture when really we need to just look at the little things and where do we need to improve.
Wow. So, okay, as a football fan and not a Dallas Cowboy fan, this is hurting my heart a little bit. Sorry, all you Cowboy fans out there. I know it's a, but honestly, I did know that Jimmy Johnson was an incredible leader, and I have heard and seen clips where he's very compassionate, and it sounds like that's what you experienced.
Yes, he was very compassionate. He actually wrote the foreword to my first book. So, but very kind. He actually applied 3 times to get on the show. He's a huge Survivor fan. So but it was incredible. And it was his words. And so I just kept going. And every day, like I said, turned into every second who I was making an alliance with, if we were winning challenges. And I couldn't think too far ahead. Well, I would not ask myself, what if? It was what was happening right now, and then adapt to that situation.
Okay, so you make it through. Describe in just 3 words how you felt about yourself after it was all over.
How did I feel about myself? I felt confident. I felt determined. And even though I didn't win, I still felt like a champion. So confident, determined, champion,
Wow.
which I did not have at the beginning of the game. And Survivor is a game where you can't trust a lot of people because you have to vote people off. You have to get to the
Yeah.
end. And I really believed in my alliance, but when there were 4 of us left, I was left with 3 of the young gentlemen and myself. And I was in an alliance, a very tight alliance with 2 of them. And the one that we were not in the alliance with, he won the last challenge. So he was automatically in the final 3. So the
Mm,
3 of us that were in alliance, we had to turn on someone. And then they told me later that they voted me off because they thought that if they took me to the end, that I would probably win.
you were a
But
threat.
yeah, I was a threat. But at the same time, our season was you had to last 39 days, and I lasted 38. And that's it's a story. I don't know if my story would be a story if I would have won. Because when I speak, I say I was the last one voted off. I survived 38 days and I was not one day short. And I talk about that in my program that in life, you're never one day short to take an opportunity. You're never one day short to step out of your comfort zone and face your fears. You're never one day short.
Never one day short. I love that. So you and I were just talking briefly before we went live. And so give us the time. This is 2010, right? What month is this?
Let's see, the season started in September and it went until the middle of December.
Okay. So we're in December
Yep.
2010, about to start a new year. And then some unexpected things happen for you. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, while the show was airing, I traveled throughout the state of South Dakota and I had a survivor watch party every Wednesday night. So I was in Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Yankton, Aberdeen. I mean, these people were hosting all these watch parties for me and I mean, they were huge parties. They made t-shirts and they turned it into a raffle and I also turned it into a fundraiser and I was able to raise $10,000 through my season, and I donated that money to Stand Up to Cancer for cancer research.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was something that I wanted to do to give back. But um, after the show ended, I got a call to speak at a Kiwanis club. And I actually said no. And they were like, well, we just want you to come and speak about your experience. And I was like, I just don't think I can get up in front of people and speak. And I spoke every Wednesday night during the show. I'd get up and I'd talk about the episode that was on. And they called me back again. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. Well, I called CBS to first of all to make sure that I could. And then
Yeah.
I said, if Jeff has time, could he please call me? Well, he did. And I asked him about speaking, and he gave me the best advice ever. He said, tell your story and stay true to yourself. And you know what, Steve? We all have a story in life.
Yep.
Each and every one of us. Vulnerability is so important. I didn't really tell my true story right away when I spoke. I shouldn't say true story, my whole story,
Right.
because I was really afraid of what people were going to think of me. And now that I've been more vulnerable on stage, it really makes people realize that, you know what? She has three successful children. She has a great career, but she's got stuff. We all have stuff.
That's
So
right.
that's when it really took off. The first 2 years I didn't do a lot, and then the third year I had a speaking bureau, an agent reach out, and she took it off for me. It just took off. And now I have 9 agents. I've written 3 books, and I've been to every state but two. But I just got New Hampshire, which I didn't have, and I need Alaska. So if anybody from Alaska's, that's going to be my last state.
Anchorage, here we come.
Yes.
Well, so it sounds like, tell me if this is accurate. It sounds like when the Kiwanis call club called, you went back to the imposter syndrome and the lack of worthy. Was that it, or was it something else?
Oh no, it was totally, I can't do this. I was
Hmm.
already convincing myself I can't get up in front of people and speak. And I went there and I actually liked it. I thought, wow,
Yeah.
this was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But you're right, too many times we hold ourselves back. It's not people holding us back, it's we hold ourselves back. And that's what I was doing. And I almost did that with Survivor. I almost backed out the day before I was supposed to leave. I looked at Charlie and I said, I'm going to back out. I can't do this. And he kept encouraging me. And my first thought was, wait a minute, I'm the one that has to go and starve and sleep in the rain in the jungle. But how many times do we do that? We tell ourselves we can't before we even try.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, I know you like to tell your story and be vulnerable, which that's the only way to be, is lead with vulnerability.
Yeah.
What are some of the favorite things you like to talk about from stage?
Well, definitely telling the survivor story. And
Mm.
what I didn't talk about right away when I started, because like I said, I was too worried about what people thought, but mental health has become a real big issue. And
Hmm.
I grew up in an abusive family. My father was an alcoholic and he was abusive. And I have 2 older brothers and my mom, and we basically hid behind a closed door. We never told
Mm.
anyone, and it was very painful. I was a high school athlete, as my brothers were. And my parents, after they divorced, my mom worked 3 jobs to raise my brothers and I. She worked extremely hard. She never complained. I mean, she'd go from job to job to job. She'd take on weekend babysitting jobs. People would bring baskets of ironing to our house, and she'd stand till 1 in the morning and iron clothes and fold them neatly. We didn't have a car. Many nights we sat at the dinner table and we'd have a bowl of cereal because my mom didn't have any money. And
Mm.
that whole childhood experience, it's really amazing how your childhood can affect your life.
Yes.
And that really made me real. There was a time in the jungle, day 33, where I walked away by myself and I was sitting on a log, and it made me realize what my mom did for me and my brothers. And as a child, I felt lonely, I felt fearful, I felt hungry, just like I did in the jungle. And I've always kind of had this wall up, or this door of a little bitterness in my life because of my childhood.
Mm.
And the jungle cleared that for me.
Wow. Who saw that coming, right?
Yeah. And that's the powerful point of my story. And ever since I told that story, in my survivor story, my speaking career has really taken off because, like I said, we all have a story, and there's too many times where we don't want to tell our story because we think that people will judge us, and
Yep.
there's your word that we're not worthy, but
Yep.
we all have a story to tell.
And that, I want to make sure I got that right. That quote is so resonating, right? The jungle cleared the bitterness out.
Mhm. Mhm.
When did you realize it did that?
I was when day 33. And
Okay.
that's what my favorite number or my lucky number is, 3. My high school basketball number was 33. It's just how that all coordinated together. But I just got up off that log and I thought, Holly, you can't live your life. Sometimes you have to go back in order to go forward. And I think that's how I felt. I sat out there and I just the whole it reminded me of growing up as a child and how hard my mom worked. And you learn a lot about yourself when everything is taken away. And
Mm,
as a child, I felt like things were taken away. And in the jungle, I felt like things were taken away. But in the jungle, I realized that I could really survive. But one of the main things that I say when I speak is survival is too often our default, where thriving is not circumstantial, it's a choice. And
hmm.
I really have to say that my mom was the one that taught me that because we didn't have a lot. I remember there were months where the electricity was turned off because my mom couldn't pay the bill. But my mom never complained and she just kept thriving and she raised 3 amazing children. And to this day, she is very positive. She is always willing to help everyone, and it really she has set the example of what not just surviving is, but thriving through challenging times.
What an amazing woman.
Yeah, she's a very amazing woman.
She probably would have did well on that show too.
She probably would. She really probably would have. Yes.
I was like, yeah.
And
Um,
I don't tell this part of the story to make my dad, look bad because my dad had a disease, and he passed away from alcoholism at the young age of 46 years old.
oh wow.
Yeah, but I also feel that he had some struggles in his life, but you have to take those struggles and you have to learn from them. You can't have them make you feel bitter and hold you back from things.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if your dad lived to see you on Survivor, and but yeah, that you're so right. This isn't my quote. You'll hear it from time to time, and it sounds a little harsh at first until you really take ownership of it. You've probably heard the quote, "Whatever happened to you wasn't your fault,
Mm-hmm.
but the healing is your responsibility."
Oh, yes, I've heard that before.
Because we're just going to carry it on to our kids and their kids if the cycle doesn't stop somewhere.
100%. Yes. And that's why even talking about mental health, it's so important. Nowadays, it's really become people are finally starting to talk about it.
Hmm.
That's great. We worry about or we think about how we improve ourselves physically, but we also need to think that mentally we have to do the same.
Oh, it's huge. We have to, especially in the times we live in now,
Uh,
where it's such a dark world. Social media is not an encouraging place unless you intentionally make it an encouraging place. The news is all about ratings, and good news does not make the ratings high. So yeah, I mean, we have to be conscientious of it and practice it for sure. Um, so what's on the horizon besides Alaska? We're going to have faith that Alaska's going to happen.
keep my fingers.
But I mean, you don't just speak in the States. You've spoken around the world too, right?
Yes, I've been to the Bahamas.
Well, that's a nice
I'm actually
location.
going to Africa. I got asked to
Okay.
speak in Africa. I'm actually going to speak for their fundraiser. And then they're going to take me on their mission trip with them, but they want me to speak to the children and then I think also some adults. And hopefully that's going to happen this summer.
Very
So
nice.
one video and one application, this is where I am 15 years later. And I would have never, ever, ever thought So when I started this career, that was my goal, to speak in every state, which I almost have. But I have to be honest, the traveling can be hard sometimes.
I bet.
I went from Orlando to Chicago to Tennessee, and I got in late, and I had an early morning mic check, and then I had, it can be hard, but it's the people. I do it because I love the people. The people that I meet, I've made lifelong friends because of
Yeah.
this job. You go in and you inspire them, and they reach out to you and you stay in touch, or they come up to you and they speak to you and they tell you their story. Or now that I've really opened up and been vulnerable about my childhood, people will say, I grew up just like you, and I'm so glad you talked about it. So it is, I do truly, it is the people. I just love the people.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me how far God has brought you in terms of the imposter syndrome and everything we talked about before. And when you talk about what you do now, it's not, I mean, yes, it is work. Okay. I have a inkling how much work it is. And like you said, the travel is tough, the preparation is tough. Let me tell you guys out there for a second. I wrote my first keynote about 15, 18 months ago, and I prepare sermons every single week. It is night and day prep. And here's why. Because you have to be really good at it, you have to memorize every single line, and you can be talking from anywhere from 20 minutes to over an hour.
Yes.
And you have to memorize your quotes, everything you're going to say. You have to be in synchronicity with the slide presentation. You have to have the clicker in most cases. Your footwork is choreographed. I mean, and pauses and scans and nods and facial expressions, mic checks. There's a lot that goes into public speaking. I'm sure I'm just scratching the surface.
Yeah, and
Um,
I didn't realize, I had no idea when I started, but I opened my own business, Inner Depth LLC. I do my own contracts, I do my own scheduling, I do my own travel. I mean, I wouldn't even want to turn the computer around right now and show you my desk because I had so many programs in October. I'm still catching up. You have to do the invoices, you have to do the bookwork, you have to do the taxes. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. When that one person comes up to you and says, I really needed to hear this today. And I had that happen this month in October. I spoke at an event and a woman came up and she hugged me and she said, You have no idea how I needed to hear this today. And sometimes this may sound a little odd. When I'm on stage, I need to hear my own words because I
mm,
get tired. I get oh, I'm tired. Can I do this? I got to go up and I got to, I got to get going. And so when I'm up there, I sometimes feel like I'm talking to myself. So that's when I'm doing something right.
that makes total sense. I'll tell
Mhm.
my congregation sometimes, this is for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
I need this. So yeah, but I just love how far God has brought you from hesitant to unworthy to, I mean, you radiate that you love what you do, and it's such a blessing to you. So I just love that. Is there another book in the works anytime soon, or are you done with that for a while?
Yeah, I've had people ask me about that. I have the three books. I haven't really, it hasn't popped into my mind. It hasn't, as of now, I have to say no. But someone gave me an idea just last week. They were like, you should write a book about all your traveling experiences.
Mhm.
Because, Steve, I had never been on an airplane by myself. When I flew out to LA for my casting call, that was the first time that I was on an airplane by myself, and I was going to LA. And
Oh,
I was scared to death, but I hopped into a taxi, went to the hotel where I was to go to my casting call. And now I live in airports and on airplanes. So just
yeah.
that one, stepping out of your comfort zone that one time. But someone had mentioned you should write a book about some of your traveling experiences. And I could probably
It'd be
write,
fun.
yes,
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah. Now, does your husband get to travel with you occasionally?
He does not. A lot of times
Okay.
because now my daughter is going to start speaking with me. Um,
Nice.
she's going to talk about depression. She suffered from depression and it was bad. It was so bad she couldn't get out of bed. It was really bad. And she started running, and she would run like 3 blocks and go back home, and then 5 blocks and go back home. And it ended up she trained for 2 years, and she ran her first marathon and almost qualified for the Boston Marathon. And then she ran another one. Why? I don't know. I mean, who runs 26.2 miles? But and then and she made it. So we all went and watched her run at the Boston Marathon, and she talks about how running saved her life. So
Wow.
yeah, so she's going to start talking. So she and I, this was kind of my next goal in my speaking career, is she and I are going to do our first program together in February. And I'm going to speak for 45 minutes on my 3-step stride, and then she's going to give her vulnerable part about, how mental health, and how she realized that she needed help, and so forth. So hopefully that's going to open up a whole new speaking adventure that she and I can start together.
That's exciting. That's got to be so exciting, and you got to be so proud of her, I'm sure.
So very proud.
Wow. So, where can people find you? We'll include all the links in the description, but where can people find you to learn more about what you do?
I have a website, hollyhoffman.com. Or you Google me and it'll just come right up. My website it has promo videos, it has a meeting planners page, it has my bio, it has testimonials, it has, you can contact me right through my website if you want to book me for a program. And so that's probably, I'm also on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and I have a Facebook page. So those are the main four ones that I have.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And we'll include those links in the description when we're done. Holly, what words of encouragement would you leave the viewers today?
Life is, there's challenges in everything that we do.
Mhm.
But when it comes to really pushing forward, you have to face your fears. You have to think of something you want to do that you don't think you can do. Because those are the things that help you grow. Those are the things that help you learn. And those are the things that really help you realize who you are as a person. And
Mhm.
that's what this whole experience has done for me. I've become a more independent person. I've become a more of a business person, which I never thought I would do. But you just have to face those fears in life and continue to go forward. In my program, in my survivor program, I speak about 6 words. And these are my 6 words that I call not to just surviving, but thriving. And they're faith, attitude, determination, competence, desire, and perseverance. And I really think those are 6 words to really thriving, and say, if you really want to do something, you at least have to try. And you can't convince yourself, well, what if?
Faith, attitude, determination, confidence.
Desire and perseverance.
Mm,
And I have those in my program, and I speak about them, and I'm a true believer that you don't have a cell phone when you're in the jungle. You don't have a computer. You have
mm.
nothing. So, but I was never alone, and that's one thing I needed to remember.
I love it. I love it. So grateful for you saying yes and coming on and sharing your heart and your resiliency and your growth. I could go on, but it's really resonated with me. And so I'm sure it has the viewers. You've been a delight to talk with. And in any way that I can serve you moving forward, I'm there. But I just thank you for being with us today.
And I do the same to you. I really appreciate you reaching out, and I can't thank you enough.
You're very, very welcome. Guys, did you catch those words? Faith, attitude, determination, confidence, desire, and perseverance. I'm going to remember those and I'm going to put those in the description as well. Guys, if you're still here on planet Earth, there's a goal for you. There's a plan for you. There's a purpose for you. And I agree with Holly that you're gonna have to, I'm not gonna say you guys, us, we are gonna have to face our fears and do it scared anyway, because we don't know the blessing on the other side of that. You guys are a tremendous blessing to me, just like Holly is. Appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day. Don't forget, you are worthy. Love you guys.